Hello, and welcome to the Intelligent Gentleman podcast. I am your host, Milt Walker, the Intelligent Gentleman, and today we got a special treat for y'all. I'm being joined by Miss Brandy Denise, Miss financial wellness expert herself. She's going to be joining us today, and she's going to be helping us, kind of learn the tricks of the trade and learn the ropes and what it really means to get and let me know if I'm saying this wrong or right, but to get generational wealth and to provide for your family from here on out. A lot of people are really kind of breaking generational curses, and so we're really trying to get our communities economically empowered. And so, Miss Brandy Denise, how are you today?
I am amazing, Mr. Walker. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Hey, I'm blessed. I cannot complain. I appreciate you being here. Last week, we wanted you then, but we got you now. So definitely happy for that and grateful for you to spend some time with us and give us your insight and everything. So first off, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about who you are, because who you are to me is a lifelong friend. We've been friends since back in, just like I had Alyssa on the podcast as well. And you're right. And she and the same principle, we've known each other back since we were going to church together, in Sunday school, and it has been a blessing to know you. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so, definitely I want you to kind of tell people a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of your backstory, a little bit about what's been happening and what brought you to where you are right now.
Well, hello everyone. First, I have to give it back to you, first of all, for inviting me to this amazing platform. I'm thankful to be here. I don't know about you guys, but anytime he spits some wisdom, we were just having a conversation about anytime you open your mouth, you got to make sure it's something profound, right? So shout out to you for having this platform, because it is very, very huge, and I wish you the best with this, sir. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
With that being said, you guys, he asked who I am. I am Brandy, born and raised, I'm not born in, but raised in Columbus, Georgia, born in Germany, military brat. We kind of hate that, so don't call me that. But, found myself, father station, in Columbus, and grew up, pretty much, we grew up in the hood, contrary to popular belief.
Right, exactly.
But it was what we knew. It was great for us. It was comfortable for us because it was togetherness. So that was in Columbus, Georgia. What he mentioned that we both from. Went to church, did all the stuff that we supposed to do. Grew up, graduated high school, found myself in situations like, okay, what do you do? Everybody says go to school, right? Go to school. That's what you do, right? So get this piece of paper, absolutely loved it, but didn't realize that throughout college, while I was spending money and doing all of the kinds of stuff that college children do, I wasn't saving. I wasn't budgeting. I definitely wasn't budgeting. And if you are watching this and you're from Columbus, Georgia, you know that there's a mall all across the street from them phone freeze.
Yep. Now you're back.
Oh,
go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Back. Okay, because my phone. But there's a mall across the street from Columbus State University. So walk in the door. Guess what?
Yep.
The girl at the Macy's counter. You got a credit card? Need a credit card? Of course. You're gonna give me some money to go shop some more.
Right. Exactly.
Getting a credit card debt, don't have not one bit of a job. How you gonna pay this stuff back, Brandy? Right? So, fast forward here, graduate college, end up moving to Atlanta. Again, partying, enjoying myself, having fun. I was working at, T-Mobile. I don't have any kids, so me at 25, 26, making $30,000, $40,000 a year, from a 9 to 5 and then hustling on the side, I was making some decent income,
Right.
But I was wearing it. Hair, clothes, shoes, nails, everything, So, fast forward, end up in a situation where it's time for me, to want an adult. First thing you do as an adult is purchase a home, right? Mortgage went around my credit and was like, girl, there ain't nothing you can do with that. So I ended up in a situation where I had to figure out my finances, and I had to figure them out quick. And as an entrepreneur, I am now, but back then, I had a banking job. Like I said, everybody says go to school, get this piece of paper, but this piece of paper and what these people paying me ain't matching up. You know what I'm saying? So I had to figure out, how we were going to get to where I am now. And I'm just thankful that, I utilize the platform that I have now to get to where I am. So that's just who I am, and a little backstory.
Okay, good. And I like how you illustrated how, you didn't really know. Like, you didn't know what to do to really put yourself in a position for, like, say 5 years later after college, for you to be buying a home, for you to be, doing all these things, maybe starting a business, investing in some, stocks or whatever the case may be. We seldom get that type of information in our communities. And I think that kind of just highlights that. And I think it's great that you put yourself back into that position using your past and your experiences to bring you into that, because it's something that you went through, right?
Right. And when you listen, you are the best example. I always tell people, especially like in my line of business and our business, we use the term being a product of the product.
Right.
If you don't know how to go through it, if you haven't experienced it, you can't teach it to someone else. And it's about the education, because we are, it's about educating the community. It's about not just making money. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
Money is amazing. But if we continue to pass out that same mindset, that same, spend a check and get it right back, it's going to continue to be that same way, and we can't pass that to our children. They're not going to be able to sustain themselves.
Exactly. We have to pass on more than, as I like the little meme people pass around on social media. We need to pass on more than shoes and clothes, right? We need to pass on some jewels, some actual knowledge, like you said, that actually can enlighten our children and to create, that generational wealth, over time. So I read a controversial post from you earlier today, right? And well, I looked at it, I watched it, and you talked about, generational wealth, right? And so I want you to kind of just get into that a little bit more to let people know exactly what you're talking about, because of course, a lot of people, have, they're saying this, and like you said, it's cliche, right? So it's like a very cliche thing to say, I'm building generational wealth and so on and so forth. But what exactly are you doing, right? What are we doing that's really creating that for our families, for our community? And I want you to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to get into what you do, and then, so that you can really clarify that for them.
Absolutely. So first of all, it is cliche, because everybody, their mama and dad and sister, brother, just like entrepreneurship. Everybody want to be an entrepreneur, but we're throwing it out there, and we're not really doing, what it takes to actually get there. So generational wealth, I actually Googled it just so that we can have this conversation, and it says assets passed down from one generation to the next. So that's building now and creating assets so that you can continue to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and so on and so forth, right? So where I feel like we are as a community, and I'm speaking, from personal experience and just experience from other people around me, we dropped the ball somewhere, right? And we went from, being on, let's go back before our generation, being, in the Black Wall Street, Black History Month, let's talk about some stuff, right? Being from the Black Wall Street, going into where our families were together, going into where, there was a 2-parent household and, they're building together, to now we're going through an epidemic of drugs and all this good stuff. Well, I don't even want to touch on that part. That's a whole different conversation. But from that to single parent households, to buying Jordans and buying what it's supposed to look like and what it's supposed to feel like, to now we're at a crossroads, right? And we've gotten to a point where it's either we're going to learn it now, or and get it down pat and make sure our children are taken care of, or we're going to continue to send that mindset up with them, and that's all that they're going to be focused on. So when I see people talk about generational wealth and this, that, and the third, but they're still repeating the same cycles over and over again, it's kind of frustrating. And that's why I say it's cliche, because like I said, everybody throws it out there because everybody builds generational wealth now. So
Right. And it's so funny that you explained it that way, because people really don't know what it is, right? They think it is just accumulating things. You know what I mean? It's just accumulating things, and that's not what it is. You have to have certain things in place, and I'm saying it very generally because I want you to kind of go into the specifics, but you have to have things in place to really be able to maintain generational wealth, right? You can't, it's not something that just kind of, okay, well, I got it and now I can. No, there's other things along with that you need to do to really secure the future of your family when it comes to that.
Right. So first, when I think about that, it's all based on a couple principles, and it's 6 particularly that it's based off of, right? So everybody knows what just happened in the stock market, right? If you ain't putting no money in the stock market by now, you do shit. But anyway, we have got that's first principle, right? If they're investing in the stock market, making your money, growth for you. You've seen GameStop, you've seen AMC and what they're doing. That's the long-term focus. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, some people can go and flip like they need to, but that is the long-term focus, and then let that continue to grow on its own. Then second, investing in real estate. You guys, a lot of us are just now becoming first-time home buyers, right? There's other ethnicities that have estates at this point, you know what I'm saying? And we just thinking about buying homes. No, we need to be invested in more. Also, third, building a business to pass down. Don't get me wrong. Yes, some people's children might want to sell it, and that's perfectly okay, because that's not their lane. That was your lane. But you want to make sure that you're building a business and making sure, that you're setting that foundation, so that if you do decide to pass that off, it will be, beneficial for your family. And also, I just want to throw out there that I prefer that you build something that is going to allow you to build residuals, so that you can pass that off as well, because residuals continue to build, and that's a long-term focus. So, another one is life insurance, you guys. I don't know if you read, but I think Master P got like $100,000, dollars from a life insurance policy that his grandfather left him, and turned it into a million, almost $1 billion empire, right? A lot of we don't have life insurance. We're depending on GoFundMe to have funerals. No, that just touched me. But anyway, and then also investing in your children's education, y'all. So y'all know I live in Atlanta, and I drive around sometimes, and I'm looking at these homes, and I'm looking at these estates. Again, not just house, estates, right? And they're in these neighborhoods that have that their schools are excelling. They're number one in the states because they have that education. And then we have, schools that are public education. And first of all, if you're dependent on public education, for your child's education, and that's the only thing that you're depending on, you're doing them a great disservice. So you definitely have to make sure that you're investing into their education as well. And then what else did I say? Oh, and then number 6, teach your children personal finance. If we don't pass it down to them, they're not gonna get it in school. So making sure that you're teaching them, not to make the same mistakes that you did, so that they can continue to build and, increase their revenue and they continue to grow as well. So that's what I put into the principle of generational wealth and building.
Okay. And whoa, I mean, that was a mouthful. That was a lot to put all into that one box. Right. Exactly. But I also want to kind of go into it a little bit more because, a lot of people know some of this stuff. They know about life insurance. They know about, wills. They know about, all of these things that really kind of make the components of generational wealth, right? Credit, these things that you have to kind of keep in mind. And even if you're not at that point, like you said, I think that was a great point. Even if you're not at that point right now, you can be at that point by the time, it's time, if you pass, if you have life insurance, that can be the starting point for the generational wealth, right? And so, it's having a strategy to put yourself in a better position for the future and put your family in a better position for the future, right? And I know a lot of my friends that we have conversations about these things. We're talking about stuff like that. So I just want to say, like, if y'all are out there and you're not around people who are talking about things like this, then you need to kind of expand your circle. Not saying just get rid of them completely, because they might be family, they might be people you love or whatever the case may be, but you want to expand your circle and you want to learn from people who are talking about it so that you can bring it back to them, so that you can teach them, right? Because the whole goal and part of the goal of my platform, and thank you so much for coming on here and helping me to illustrate some of these things, is to economically empower our communities, but we have to learn the ways to do that, especially in America, right? And where we live, it's already there are clear paths to certain things, right? And there's plenty of opportunities, and so we just have to become more focused with it and make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do, even if it's just supporting each other. Because going back to the podcast which you referenced earlier, the past podcast where we were talking about Black Wall Street, if we're supporting each other and creating our own economic base, with infrastructure, and we rely on each other, then that's a more solid foundation to build the generational wealth, right?
All the time. Anytime I know somebody that does something, I'm sending them to my people. I like to keep our money in a circle, because if you look at the statistics, or haven't seen it, don't quote me on the numbers because I might be wrong, but I think our other ethnicities have their dollar circles in their circle 6-10 times before they leave out, and then ours don't even make it to one. That's a problem. So anytime I know something that somebody is doing, I'm sending them, hey, my people, go see them, right? Because that's what it's about, making sure that we're taking care of our circle and making sure that we're building together, because when we support each other, it continues, you know what I'm saying,
exactly.
to build.
Yeah, it's energy, right? It's just like, when you building spiritually, you continue that positive energy, and the vibration, that's what when you put it out there, it's gonna ripple right back, right? So you're gonna put it out there and it's gonna come back, and that's just the laws of the universe. I mean, we don't control any of that. It's the same with the law of attraction, right? If we're putting out into these the mindset, the wealth mindset, and we're putting that out there, we're always talking about it, we're always being a part of it in these circles and supporting each other to help build that, then that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen. And I just want to stop and give a shout out to some of the people who are joining us in the chat. This is for the people who are listening to this on the podcast and you can't see. We got Kayla Hall. She's joining us. She says she's giving you all props, Brandy, saying that you're doing a great job explaining everything and talking about the mindset matters and breaking the cycles. And we got
Thank you.
Jamil Gordon also is joining us as well. And we got others just watching and taking notes, so that's good. And definitely, if y'all have any questions, make sure you put it into the chat, and we'll make sure we get it on here so that you can get your questions answered. But I want just give us because I know that this is your field and this is what you've been studying. And how long have you been doing this?
4 years now.
4 years now, right? So you've been doing this for a while, and so what are some of the tools and tips that you can give people that to kind of help them get focused on this, because it's one thing to have the knowledge, but it's another to apply it. So what can you how can you give them some guidance on that?
Listen, I'm happy you just said that, because we always say, people say knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is power. So absolutely. First, I say start, really focusing on, what it is that you want. Yes, like a lot of us live, in the now and in these lifestyles. But as we're talking about building for generations, we have to take us out of the way. You know what I'm saying? It's not about us anymore. If you have kids, it definitely ain't about you anymore, right?
Especially if you're the first one, right? If you're the first one.
But in order to do that, we have that. Oh yeah, you definitely have to get yourself out of the way. But in order for you to be able to get yourself out of the way, you have to make sure that finances are in order at the end of the day, right? Your credit needs to be good. You need to have some kind of money saved, in the bank. You have to have some kind of, making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are able to teach you how to invest and how to, save and what to be focusing on in order to create those habits and to create that generational wealth. So first, I say take a self-evaluation and see where you are, where you want to go, and where your focus should be. Then put yourself in a position so that you are able to do so. So a lot of people say, Brandy, how do I do that? I work 7 days a week, 9 to 12,
right,
every day. So you have to decide. Some of us have to have a real conversation with ourselves, right? I run in the industry that I'm in. I talk to people all day long, literally. And we have conversations about all these goals and all these dreams and the things that we want, but we're really not ready to sacrifice what it is that we need to sacrifice, in order to get there. So first, like I said, get yourself together financially. Second, make a decision, because there's people be like, oh, I don't know. Well, you made a decision. The decision is no. Once you decided to bring something negative, into your mindset that is going to keep you away from that, as soon as you spoke that out of your mouth, it ain't gonna work anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's all together. So you have to make a decision. And then, again, surround yourself with people. It's not going to be beautiful. I'm going to tell you that right now. This entrepreneurship journey is not beautiful. When you decide that, when you make a decision that it stops with you, it is not beautiful at all. But you have to make sure that you're focused on, the end goal. Like, you go through the journey, but make sure, you go through the journey with the end goal in mind, and making sure, that you're not getting so caught up in you. Get yourself out of the way. It's about, we have to learn to unlearn, like I was talking about earlier, all the things that we thought was it, and replace it with everything, because it's so many things, like I said, that were generationally passed down, that were systematically passed down, that were we passed down. Like, it's so many things that we have to unlearn in order to get to where we really need to want to go. But bottom line, like I said, is just working on you and making a decision to, actually want to get there. Everything else after that, you do paperwork, that stuff trivial. You know what I'm saying? You have to make the decision, because 90% of this is mindset, and the 10% of it is applying that skill set and making it work. So
absolutely. Everything starts with the thought, right? It goes from the thought, to the words, to the actions. So you're always going to start there. Everything. If you're not getting the results that you're looking for, then that means there's something wrong with your mindset, right? And you have to change it. So, and don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over, because that means you're not learning, right? So you got to learn from the mistake and then apply it from there, so, okay, so that's the first step. So what's the next step? What would you say that the next step would be for someone who needs to break that generational curse of not having generational wealth? What's the next one?
So then I would say, if I'm an advocate of entrepreneurship. Like, don't get me wrong, people make good money in corporate America. That's fine, and if you decide to continue that route, that's perfectly fine. But also make sure if something happens to you, you can't pass that job to little Johnny and Susan them. Like, you just can't. And you make sure you have things in place like insurance, like other investments to be able to sustain your family, especially if you are the main breadwinner of your family. Y'all might be living this 6-7 figure life because you're working 70-80 hours a week, but what happens if something happens to you? So make sure those things are in place. Say that you're not this corporate American person making 6-7 figures like you want to. Make sure that you're learning the things that you need to learn. Make sure you're investing in the things that you need to invest in. Like, I'm thankful. What you about to say?
No, I was saying that's definitely like y'all need to listen to that. You invest in, and the most important investment is yourself when you're talking about, because you got to learn. Like, I mean, you should be investing into the knowledge to get you to where you're trying to go, right? I mean, that's the main thing, and if you don't have it or you can't find it, then you invest in an expert that can help you to find out what you need to do. And that's just really the bottom line. But go ahead. I didn't want to break you. I didn't want to cut you off. So that's why I just was. Go ahead.
Oh no, and you know what? I'll get that thought back in a second. But I'm happy you brought up investing, because a lot of people think investing in themselves is a scam or something wrong with that. No, like, first of all, there's so much information out here, and don't get me wrong, there's some things that you can go Google and do yourself, but there's some things that you can invest in that's gonna catapult you 6 months ahead, you know what I'm saying, than you would have been if you did it yourself. So I'm happy that you said that, because people think investing in themselves is a bad thing. No, it's a great thing. And also, that's where I was. I was happy I don't have any children yet, because I see so many Christmases pass by, so many, holidays, birthdays, all this good stuff pass by. You buy these kids all these toys, and I went to the toy section in Walmart and then had a panic attack. Like, it's too much going on. Y'all buy, these kids, these toys and stuff, and they break them in a week. Or they open them and put them off to the side. You know what I'm saying? You could have invested that $20-$30 into an ebook, or invested that $20-$30, into a course, or invested, make an investment. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to buy for your children. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, but make sure you are where you need to be first, because when you get yourself together and you put yourself in a position to, it's okay to sacrifice a Christmas or two, in order to get to where you need to be, so that the next 10-15 Christmases are where you want them to be. So that's why I really, really like, you brought up the investment. Yes, making sure that you're spending your money wisely and making sure that you're making it work for you and not just frivolously buying stuff.
Right. Exactly. You know, following the trends, right? Because you mentioned cliche earlier. You know, you mentioned that. You know, people tend to follow what they see a lot, and that's why it's so important to put yourself around people who are having these conversations, who are, you know, talking on a different level, because they're not going to be doing the same thing. So if you're in the same, you know, wave as everybody else, you know, then that's where you're going to be. But if you're outside of that and watching it, you might be able to learn something, and tying that into the investing part. Even if you invest in the stock market, see, when you're watching the waves happen, you can predict what to do next when it comes to stock market investment, right? You know, whether you need to pull out or whether you need to buy in, right? And you know, and to constantly be able to see that and see the trends. It's okay to stay abreast of the trends, but you don't want to be a part of it, right? Because that means that you're in consumerism. You know, you are, like you said earlier, you're spending the money on, you know, the clothes, the this, the that, and the third, you know, the newest technology trends, you know. And I know I'm kind of talking about myself right now, but you know, but you know, there's certain things that are just staples, right? Certain things that you just gotta have, and certain things that you gotta do, like when and they're investments. You know, I like to tell my clients when I do like websites for them, you know, a website is an investment. It's not an expense, because what you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it.
Get out of it, absolutely.
You know, it's not just about, you know, you know, getting a professionally done website. Well, the reason why you're getting it professionally done is because there are things that you don't really know or understand about what it is to create a website that they might know, you know. And so, you know, and of course you can invest your time, which is one of the most precious resources, right? You can invest your time and learn it and do it yourself. But if time is of the essence, then you might want to invest in a professional to do it for you. You know, so being able to, you know, weigh those pros and cons as well when you're getting into entrepreneurship, and I like how you brought that up and tied that into, you know, the investing in yourself part, because you know, that's really the ultimate goal. And I made the point last podcast saying, you know, we have a lack of everything in our communities. We don't have enough infrastructure when it comes to anything in our communities. So there's always a place. And I like the way Kayla said it in the chat. You know, you find something that makes sense. You know, I'm gonna paraphrase what she said, but you know, you find something that makes sense in the market. You know, you fit it into whatever it is that you're trying to do. It might not be what you end up doing or what you love doing, so it might not be what you end up doing, but that's what you start with. And then, you know, as it goes, you may end up selling it, or you may end up, you know, keeping it in the family and passing it on. You know, but the key is that it becomes an asset for you, and not, you know, and not a liability like a job, which, you know, if you don't make it to that retirement age, you know, you just put in all that time, you're not really going to get anything out of it, you know, unless you have been saving in a 401k or a Roth IRA, you know, and all these different things that you can do while you're doing it. But even when you do that, you know, you're still running different types of risks when you do it. So, you know, really, you know, getting somebody who is financially well versed is really gonna help you in that situation, because they can help you, you know, navigate that according to whatever your situation is. So what else can you tell us? We got about 26 more minutes. So what else can you tell us that can really, you know, awaken people to the need of you know, you and your service and what you provide for them, and the knowledge and the know-how to get them to a position that they want to be?
Well, first of all, remember I mentioned being a product of a product. This is a story all about how. I'm just saying.
Okay, I got you. Fresh princess.
I ended up learning the hard way. the hard way that, you know, I needed to get to the point to where I am now, right? Like I said, being raised in a community where these things weren't taught, where they weren't talking about, you know, the stock market, they weren't talking about buying homes and stuff like that. Like a lot of us live with our grandparents, or you know what I'm saying, something like that. So we weren't talking about those things. Like I said, we're getting to the age now where we're first-time home buyers. So I learned the hard way that bad credit ain't gonna get you nowhere, and living paycheck to paycheck ain't gonna get you nowhere. So like I said, when I graduated college, I was at a point where, like I said, I was doing good for myself, making okay money. I don't have any kids, but I was at Phipps Plaza. If I was in Atlanta, y'all know what I'm talking about. That's where all the designer stuff is. Every day, every time I got paid, I was in there buying something. I can tell you what half of that mess was in about 6 months, you know. And then it got to a point where even really bad, I was switching my wardrobe literally every season. So I would buy clothes and give them away, buy clothes and give them away. And that stuff ain't cheap, you know.
Right.
So some stuff I'm mad I gave away, but that stuff isn't cheap. And again, I'm now at a point where I'm working this dead-end banking job that, you know what I'm saying, I'm in here, and y'all, again, not knocking 9 to 5. If it works for you, I praise you for it, because we need some people to do it. And if that's your lane, I love you for it. But it just wasn't for me, and I felt claustrophobic in that box. But when I went to that mortgage lender and he told me you can't purchase a home with that credit score, I felt defeated, right? And I had to learn, like, I had to learn the adult real quick. Like, hold on, them shoes, them clothes, like, I had weave that, you know what I'm saying, in my hair that was, you know what I'm saying, that I invested into this business. You know what I'm saying? It costs more than I invested into this business to learn that financial structure. That, you know, again, at that point, I'm defeated. Like, what am I supposed to do? So thank God, y'all. And if you hear this and y'all share this, because I'm pretty sure some family watching, my guardian angel came into my life when he did and told me, look, I know you need this. Go ahead and put that money into it, because you got that on your feet. And you know what I'm saying, you like learn along the way. And that's exactly what I did. And I put, you know what I'm saying, the things in place. You know what I'm saying, like I said, I wasn't budgeting. Like right now, I like every penny has a place. Like I went to the store a minute ago and picked up some candy and was like, nope, that ain't in your budget. But I had to focus on that mindset, because right now I'm focused on, like, the house that I just purchased. I'm going to pay it off in 2 years so that I can go build in Arizona and stay in the hills where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really focusing. And I had, like I said, I learned the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody love my hair now. I was talking about it, you know what I'm saying, yesterday. I locked my hair as a result of 2 years ago. I told myself, when I made the decision that I was taking this to another level, it's like everything that you can get rid of it. I don't care what it is. And then, unfortunately for myself, my hairdresser, shout out to Ashley Monroe, ended up moving to Vegas. So now I'm like, okay, I don't let nobody touch my hair, you know what I'm saying, outside of her. How am I supposed to get this done now, right? So I took that money and I invested in it, and I became a student of the game, honestly. And it was like, you have to get it down pat to fix it for yourself in order to be able to share, you know what I'm saying, for the rest of the community. Because I didn't mention earlier, like I mentor in, you know what I'm saying, in some of the schools in Atlanta, public school, and I'm seeing these children go through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I see myself in these children, you know?
There you go.
And I have to learn it. I had to learn it quick. Because again, if I'm going to make an impact, if I'm going to be someone, you know, that is going to carry generations and to make sure that generation will be taken care of again, I had to get myself out of the way, because it's not about me. So learn the hard way. and I'm happy that we have this platform so that I can share, so that people don't have to make those mistakes. It's like you mentioned earlier about investing. Like, you can invest in something, again, that take you 10-15 minutes to learn, but catapult, you know what I'm saying, your life a whole year ahead than actually putting it off. And I'm one of the things that I had to unlearn, that when we got something on our credit, that it had to stay on there for 7 to 10 years. That was the biggest lie that we've ever told. But it's because we don't know any better, right? We leverage something called the Credit Reporting Act to get negative items removed off your credit report. Student loans, credit card bills, repossession, medical bills, all that good stuff. If it's on your credit report, we can dispute it to get it removed, right? And I felt like, because I have these things, I didn't let my, you know what I'm saying, bills go into collections and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, what have I got now? I gotta wait 7 years. I gotta put my life on hold for 7 years. No, you don't. And another crazy thing, and somebody, you know, might judge me for it, but it's okay. Bankruptcy is not the answer. You're putting yourself on hold, and stop doing that, and invest into the tools, into the education, into the financial literacy that you need, so that you don't have to keep making those mistakes. I remember one of my friends, I think we were like 21, 22. She's like, oh, I'm just gonna file bankruptcy. What? Like, we're too young for this. Like, we're not supposed to be in it, but we don't have that education. And it's sad to me that those type of things, bankruptcy, car pawning, you know what I'm saying, all that type of stuff is pumped into our neighborhoods. And if that's all we know, you know, that's all that we're going to get. And that's what we're going to continue to pass down. So it's about, you know, breaking those curses and being in life and having to learn it the hard way to be able to pass it down and have conversations like this.
Right.
So we can spread it back home.
Exactly. We really do. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought it up, because a lot of people don't really understand to the extent that this is really something that you're passionate about. Like, you know, you mentor in schools, you know, you're teaching the kids what, you know, like you said, you see yourself in them. And so you're able to articulate that so that they can get this knowledge, you know, before, you know, they get to the point where you found yourself at, you know, and which, you know, and you're young yourself, but I mean, you know, so when it comes to, you know, as far as time is concerned, you know, but they can get it, you know, a lot sooner, because they may not be getting that at home, right? They may not be getting it at home. And a lot of times you can tell, right? You can tell because they might not be taking their education seriously. And so, you know, that, you know, time is an investment. You're investing time in yourself. So learn, get it over with. Learn what you need to learn so you can get out there and you can do what you need to do. You know, there's so many, I feel so inspired a lot of times because I see a lot of kids these days, you know, using the internet to become, you know, young entrepreneurs. And it's so beautiful to me. I love that. You know, I love seeing that. And, you know, I think we got to start putting that out there more often too, because, you know, that mindset, and I think you talked about it a little bit, that mindset that people have to, you know, have the 9 to 5 and you know, work for 30 years to really be, you know, that mindset is really not, it's really not what we need to teach our children. We need to teach our children, you know, how to be, because the skills are the same. Running a business and working for somebody else, you can have the same skills. Like, you know, the way I like to say it is, you know, you learn from whatever it is that you're doing in your job, and then you apply it to your own business. And then once you do that, then, you know, you can make a successful business, you know, and you know, but at the same time, you can work for yourself, you know, you can have that freedom that comes with that, but it's also a huge responsibility. So educating yourself and investing in that knowledge and somebody that can help you is real critical.
Absolutely. You touched on the not forgetting what you learned, and, you know, in that 9 to 5 and bringing it into your business. We call it, you know, corporate America meeting entrepreneurship, because when, you know, you get into business, you don't want to forget, you know what I'm saying, that you have to meet deadlines. You don't want to forget that you have sales goals. You don't want to forget, you know what I'm saying, that you are running your business. There is no CEO over you. It is you. And if you don't get that discipline, if you don't learn a schedule, if you don't learn, those basic things again that you learn in corporate America, that you learn in that 9 to 5, you bound for trouble. So yeah, it's important that you can't forget it. And then people don't realize that you can build, on the side part-time. You work 9 to 5. Cut out, like you said, time is the most important thing that we can't get back. So we come home, we turn on the TV, we play with the kids, we do this, we on the phone, we scroll through Facebook, we scroll through TikTok, whatever. And now we look up and it's 9 o'clock. You done wasted 3 whole hours that you could have put towards the business. You know what I'm saying? And then now it's time for you, to go to bed because you're tired and you got to get up tomorrow and do the same thing over again. No, stop. Like, please stop. And I don't know, it's like, because y'all don't get me wrong, it's frustrating when, especially in my industry, I absolutely love it to death. Like, network marketing has been the biggest blessing to me and so many others around. Like, people see, artists, and then like, y'all, I live in Atlanta. One of the things I learned from a popular rapper that I'm not gonna say any names, that you gotta pass this stuff down to your children. So they put their children on TV. They put their children, with these LLCs. They teach them the way so that when they get older, they can continue it on. Like, a lot of people look at, some of the children that are the outcome of that, and it's like, oh, they're living off their parents' money. No, they're not. I promise you they're not. And it's because they taught them at an early age, because they learned it, and continuing to pass it down. So, and what your children see you do, they're gonna repeat. So if they see you come home and be on the phone all day, or scrolling and watching TV and watching the news, please turn off that idiot box. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend nobody, but but please turn it off and making sure that you're focusing on building here. You understand? Because it's all about your mindset, and it's all about what you're pumping into and what you're feeding yourself. A lot of the stuff, and we said this is going to be controversial, so let's go. A lot of the stuff that we see on TV a lot of the stuff that we see on TV is repeated lies. A lot of the stuff that we see on TV that's why it's called television programming, because it's programming you what to think. But as I digress, the leisure time that we're wasting, we could be putting into, building our business and, focusing on the side, and then wake up tomorrow and, do it again. And then I'm not knocking, anybody and what they do and decide, what they do decide to necessarily do. But you really, again, you have to get yourself out of the way. Your children depend on it. Your future depends on it. Your legacy depends on it. Everything after you depends on it. And if you make the decision and consider that you're the one, you have to stop doing things like the 99. Like, you have to, right? And sometimes, like, here we go. We said it would be controversial. So sometimes I get around people and I get real quiet. And I know people be like, why is she so weird? And it's not necessarily that I'm weird, but a lot of times I be traveling to the news, and then sometimes it's like I can't vibrate necessarily on that frequency, or my mind is in another space. So the talking about politics, the talking about what's on TV, talking about what's going on in the world, I can't relate to. So it's hard for me to engage in those type of conversations, So when it's presented, I have to kind of separate myself. And then even with friends, I look like along the way, like I grew up with my brothers and sisters, but I didn't necessarily grow up with my brothers and sisters, if that makes sense. That's a story for another day. But I've built a family, along the way. And some people love me, some people hate me. I don't care. But I like to shine my light. And, that light attracts a lot of people and a lot of energies. So I've had to learn over the years discernment and who I can pour my energy into and who isn't necessarily assigned to me. So, and that's another thing that you have to figure out, who is assigned to you and who you're supposed to bring and teach along the way. It ain't necessarily saying that you just have to cut everybody off, but you also have to prioritize your time, because again, we can't get that back. And when you make the decision that you are the one and that is your focus, there's some things that you just can't do anymore. And that just is what it is.
Absolutely. I think you made some very great points, and I think everybody in the chat is agreeing with you, and they in the church with you, and and I really appreciate. Right. So, and they're asking for your information. So make sure once you get out of here with me, then make sure you go back into the chat on the video and make sure you speak to some of the people, because they want to definitely get your information. But and we only have about 9 more minutes, but I want to just kind of wrap it up. Just in summary, we talked about, first being in the mindset, in the right mindset to make a change to your situation, to your family situation, and making up your mind that that's what you want to do, right? And once you got that, we say, Kuja Chungalia, you have that self-determination, right? Once you get that self-determination, then you can actually, go for what you're looking for, right? You're right. You can't be a part of something greater if you don't have that determination within yourself, because you're always just going to kind of, fall out wherever you're going to fall out. And so that's the first part. And then the second part is investing in yourself and your knowledge and your, in your circle, right? Practice becoming who you envision yourself to be. That's how I like to say it now. Because that's very important. You don't have to be there, but you definitely want to be coming. You want to be coming, into whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you have to think that way. You have to think like what you're becoming. You have to think like a multi-million-dollar company. You have to think like, somebody who is really breaking a generational curse, right? Or breaking that generational wealth gap, right? Where, you creating it for your family, then, that's how you got to look at it. It's a war within, when it's that type of situation, you really got to take it seriously, so, that's, kind of what I got from what you were saying. And definitely I appreciate you coming by and sharing your insight and your story and your knowledge with us and helping us, to see how important that is. So I'm going to leave the floor to you for any closing remarks and anything you want to kind of leave everybody with. And thank you so much.
Thank you again. Like I said, this platform is amazing. I can't wait to tune in on next Tuesday to see what it's about. And you guys, plug in. My man over here is doing some great things. So make sure you are sharing anytime he pops up on your timeline. So closing out, you guys, we talked about the self thing and going inside, and we talked about building a generational wealth, and please stop using it cliches. And then we talked about entrepreneurship. I always, like I tell my girls that I mentor, making sure that you're reading, pouring into yourself, making sure that you're in I don't think I necessarily mentioned spiritually either, but make sure you write spiritually too, because like he said, it's a war, and it's a war within yourself. And if you are not centered and you haven't invested in here spiritually, that's another thing you got to work on. So it's a lot of things that we are battling at one time, especially when you're that one. It's a lot of things that you battle. So it's about, learning that balance. And it's about, finding how it works for you, not anybody else, because ain't nobody else told you yet. So you got to figure it out, right? So you got to find out what works for you. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when you decide and that it stops with you, whatever that comes with that, like, as long as you did what you're supposed to do, then you're okay. So that's one thing. And then Also, we were talking about, financially. I can't stress how important credit is, you guys. Like, it rules everything. Like, we get to the point where we think security deposits are normal. No. Like, we should not be pouring out extra money. We should, like, we're walking away, driving, the cars that we want, but we're paying 28% on interest. That's a problem. So make sure your credit is in a great financial being, so that you're not pouring out that extra money. You can pour it into investing into yourself. You know what I'm saying? And right. Doing those type of things and building that foundation now in order to build, on top of that. Like he mentioned earlier, it might not be you. You might not be the millionaire. That's okay. You might be the 100,000 there, 600,000 there. That's okay. But you're setting that foundation and passing it off, that, so that we're not repeating those same mistakes. Because it stops with us, y'all. We got to learn to unlearn all that stuff that we learned, like, and fast. And
exactly.
Fast, and not pass it down to our children, because they definitely deserve more. So again, I thank you so much for allowing me to share this platform with you. And anytime you want me to come back, I'll come back.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. We're going to have you come back. And I really appreciate you coming by. And we're so glad that you took the steps that you took to learn the things that you know, to be able to share it with us. We are grateful for you for that experience, and we really appreciate you. And everybody's just throwing up all the likes and the loves and the cares in the chat. So please make sure you go back and you reach out to them and let them know. Also, one of my friends, Tracy Pickett, said she would love for you to mentor her grandson. So again, that's what this platform is for. We really want to enable people to be able to build a bridge between where the knowledge is, where the talent is in our communities, because that's what we need. We need more bridges. We don't need to be separating from each other. We've seen in the last 4 years or so, we've seen what separation does. So we need to come together. This is the time to come together. And if you're not using that to do that, then you haven't got the lesson yet. You know what I mean? So especially with the pandemic and everything and how it affected everybody, there are other things that are important. So we can't really just put things in the same perspective. We have to look at things differently, and we need to change our communities, and we need to, like you said, like ASAP, pronto. We need to do this.
Like
yesterday.
Not even 4 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right. Exactly. We don't have time to waste anymore. We don't have time. So thank you again, Brandon Denise. Thank you all for watching and supporting, and she's gonna come back in the chat. So if y'all want to kind of hang around, she's gonna jump in there in just a second. And definitely look out for the next one. And thank you again so much. I really appreciate you. And we'll talk to y'all on the next one. Y'all have a great one. Okay.